Yeah. Okay. Good morning. Welcome, everyone, to another Wednesday. I got a little bit sick after going to back conferences, but I should be good. I don't know. After this call, after this over, I'll be healed. All right. So we'll start by grounding ourselves to the here and now. So start by just taking a couple breaths in and with each breath in, give it a color. Give your breath a color that represents love. And as the air travels into your body, through your nostrils, allow it to heal anything that might not be serving you. Relax your shoulders just a little bit. Relax your jaws. And with every out breath, things that don't serve, whether you know what they are or not, leaves you. And every part of your body that needs healing, allow the breath to travel there. You are becoming and remembering to be like a tree. It takes in carbon dioxide, spits that back out oxygen. And every part of you, bring to your mind's eye, beginning to be that color that represents love. From the top of your head to the tip of your toes. And welcome to Tribe Earth. Recognizing yourself being like a tree, contributing to the greater good, to the whole. The only meaningful contribution is always within you. Every individual of Tribe Earth carries with them a significant contribution to the whole. You carry within you a significant contribution to the whole. But only if you remember the love that resides in your heart. So in your mind's eye, I want you to picture your heart and notice all the judgments and all your past life experiences or this life experiences. Everything that has shaped your perception of the world, about money, about God, about the government, about religions, about people that hurt people. There is a wall built around your heart. And the only way that we recognize our contribution to the whole is we start to remove those things. Remove the walls, and in your mind's eye, open your heart. And whatever comes through in your mind, that's your gift to share with the world. God put it there. It can never go anywhere. Just because you don't see it or you forget about it does not mean that it's not there. You recognize it in yourself. You remember that everyone has this. Every single person within their heart carries a message from God. And so it's within this message right here that we remember what our contribution is to the world and to humanity. May we remind ourselves and everyone that we interact with that there's love in your heart and a significant message that the world needs to hear. And don't let it be heavy. Whenever you're ready, the world will be ready. And so from this space, we say thank you to this moment. And we take a couple more breaths in, relaxing ourselves just a little bit more. And you can begin to come back to this call. And whenever you're ready, if you have your eyes closed, you can open them. We say thank you. Amen. Aho. And so it is. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Please excuse my little sickness. I don't know, I got a little cough. I almost thought about not doing this call this morning. I was going to text Natalia, be like, "Hey, can you handle it?" I'm like, "Shit, it's like 30 minutes before the call." But yeah, that was a beautiful message that came through, and I'm glad that I'm here. So, last week we talked about miracles. We talked about what did we talk about? We talked about having babies. That was a funny conversation. But these calls have been going on. For those of you guys that are new, I'm gonna actually post post the link here for you guys that are live to if I can. alexlovely.com to register and be on Zoom. Okay, let's start with, does anybody have and giving and receiving? Yes, we talked about that last week. That it isn't two things happening, it's happening together. And this week we're going to talk about, I wanted to talk about the one tribe. I wanted to talk about that there is only one tribe, and it's Tribe Earth. See, so many of us, we get caught up and we want to do things separate. See, the ego wants always to separate instead of figuring out how to be within, how to work within, how to be a contribution. Instead, the ego needs acknowledgement. It needs to be by itself. I need to create my own company. I need to create my own mastermind. I need to create my own community. Right? There is that. Now, there are people out there. I shared last week that there are 4 types of people. One is survivors. Survivors are very content with the status quo, and they're like, don't change anything. And they'll go and pull you down if you challenge the status quo. Right? They don't want other people to do well around them. So survivors, it's like kind of the lowest form of being a contribution here. And then there's the contenders. The contenders need outside and material acknowledgement, things outside of yourself to create motivation, right? They need the commissions, they need the acknowledgments, they need all that stuff, and they'll contend, right, for to do better. Okay, if you're going to pay me more, if there's a commission, then I will do more. So there's a lot of, I need this in order for me to do this, and nothing wrong with it. But they're at least willing to be motivated and do more and be a bigger contribution. Then there is competitors. Competitors just have this competitive nature in them. Doesn't matter who they're going up against. Every day they want to be the best version. They want to win. And they'll contribute to the greatest of their ability when directed in the right way, obviously, because competition sometimes can lead to, self-worth and lack of self-worth and all that as well. So there's these competitors. Now, the last level, the third one, and the competitors really have, infinite self-motivation too. They draw it within themselves to be a competitor, right? Whether it be in sports, in whatever, they're competing to win. And this comes from, and I was inspired by a company that shared this with me, and it comes from the show School of Hard Knocks with the Jets this year, actually. Something along the lines of this. And then the last one is your commander or your champion. A commander is somebody that has all of the traits of a competitor, except they want to bring people with them. Right, so depending where you are, and it's within all of us, all 4 of those things are within all of us. It's just what we're going to call forth at any given moment. Being a commander, you care about people, you care about where they're going. Everywhere you go, you are the trailblazer, and you want to bring people with you. It's not about being better. It's not about diminishing others. Right, it's about bringing people with. One sec. And so Team Earth, right? There's really only one. We're all trying to achieve the same thing. So for me personally, I'm always looking to bring people together. I'm looking for people with greater vision that I can align behind. Just like I am a connector of people, I also want to be connectors of tribes. And so it's about bringing people together and bringing and tightening and recognizing and seeing those connections rather than seeing disconnections. And disconnections will look like this isn't good enough for me anymore. I'm not getting enough out of it anymore. And when that thought comes, see, there's only two things ever happening. Either you're thinking, how can I contribute? Or you're thinking, what am I getting out of it? See, the Course says fear and love does not operate in the same place. Neither does this. The world is very clear. It's black or white. Now, we tend to make up a whole bunch of gray things in between, which does not matter. There's only black and white. The vision of one costs you the vision of the other. Either you are contributing or you are taking. And there's only two. What am I getting out of it? Is an ego's call for separation. Because in the beginning, it's like in relationships. When you first meet somebody, and I was watching, what were we watching? We were watching I don't know, some movie with that guy from Jesus, from Barbie. Who's that? Who's Ken from Barbie? Oh God, Ryan yeah, Gosling. Okay. So there's a movie, I don't know what we were watching, but you know, like he just wanted, like they held hands in the movies. What was it? Oh, it was La La Land. Oh my God, that was a good movie until the end, so I won't blow it. But like in the beginning, we're like, all we ask for is we just want to hold hands. That would be enough. But the ego always wants more and more and more and more. This is why when we think about what am I getting, we lose sight of the contribution that we can be and the possibility in relationship in communion when we come together. It's only black and white. Abundance, scarcity. You can't be in both. You either are generous and sees and operates in abundance, or you're in scarcity. There's not enough. Either there's always enough or there's not enough. If we can navigate the world, see, this is what the Course teaches me, that you can navigate the world. You either want peace or you want war. There's nothing in between. And then the only question comes down to your actions, your thoughts, your words. Are they moving you towards war or are they moving you towards peace? See, the ego draws the gray line, like, ooh, I can judge this person, but because of blah, 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 it actually makes it more of this. No, there's none of that. The second judgment comes in, you are going towards war. The second compassion, empathy, love, gratitude comes in, you're going towards love. You're going towards peace and happiness. There is no in between. And either there's one tribe, the human tribe, Earth tribe on this planet, or there's a bunch of different ones. There is no gray in between. When you're in an argument with your spouse or significant other, either you're coming towards a resolution and returning to love, or you're going deeper into conflict. The needing to be right. That we think is in the gray line. If I can only be right and she gets that I'm right, then we would be going towards love. No, because even if she concedes, she is only conceding to build up an army to come back at you later. So there is no gray in between. You're either all accepting or you're none. So now that seems like a whole bunch of responsibility on us, right? Like, how are we supposed to navigate the world this way? Well, you don't. It's kind of like our opening meditation. Your message and the gift is within your heart, and God already put it there. You don't need to find it in the world in order to find your message. Your garden is already put there. Here's your garden, tend to it. Here's the fire, tend to the fire. And you can gauge yourself every single night by saying, how well did I tend to my garden and my fire? How well did I tend to this message? I was watching, there's a show on Netflix called Predators, and it's about animals. I love it. So I have to watch it when my wife's kind of like going to sleep or not paying attention. But I can't make through anything. I put anything on at night, I fall asleep. So it takes me a long time to finish each episode, which is only 43 minutes long. But it's just interesting. Polar bears, I watched an episode on polar bears last night. Like, really, all they do is they mate, they have their little babies, and then they take care of them. And then they go on this long journey to hunt, to eat. And then they come back, and then they sleep, and then they mate, and then they grow up, and then they have kids. And then it's funny, the seals and the beluga whales, which the polar bears eat. Can you believe that? Polar bears eat whales. They go and jump into the water and take a whale down. But all they do is they reproduce and they get fat and they sit there and bears eat them. I'm like, what is this whole purpose? But they don't even question their purpose being there. They just know this is what they do. And as they keep reproducing and just doing what they do, like, God is making it all happen. Right now, for us as human beings, we get a choice. We get to create all sorts of stories in between birth, mate, and all of that other stuff. We've made a meaning of this world. For the bears, for the seals, for the beluga whales, they just do what their instincts and naturally and what God told them to do. And that's it. And along the way in their journeys, they just go on like little mission journeys all day, every year, and they learn along the way. That's it. So things are always operating. There's a invisible hand guiding us no matter what. Every one of us. Where the collective is going is not up to us individually. All we can do is remind each other that, hey, relax, surrender to this force, surrender to love. Don't take it so seriously, right? You're only here for a small period of time, and just enjoy your time while you're here. We stress about everything. Whatever we can possibly stress about, we do. So this miracle of remembering happens naturally because miracles are natural expressions of love, and it always wants to come out. That's why love conquers everything. If anybody is going through any pains, love is always the answer. Because the only reason why hurt and pain and suffering and all these terrible things on our planet happens is because people having a blockage to being able to express love. Now, you can interrupt by showing love. And they're like, that's how it's done. Okay, thank you. That's why love is the only answer to everything. Because love is natural expression in this world. We all want to have it come out. Now there's blockages and we forget, right? So then our job is to be awake and aware and conscious enough in each moment to recognize that everybody is either showing love or calling out for love. Okay, love is the driving force behind miracles. Miracles show up. Miracles are defined as the shift in perception from a place of fear to a place of love. Now, deeper into the original text of A Course in Miracles, it says that miracles are actually the love that is behind it, that can even express that can even create the miracles. It's not just a happening. It's not just a shift. So miracles are natural and it's always happening. Now, the Course also says, and the Course, when I say the Course, I'm talking about A Course in Miracles, which is a channeled book by Helen Schuckman back in the late 60s. I think during that time, there was a spiritual awakening happening across the globe. Okay, you have a lot of great modern thinkers that came around that time. A Course in Miracles impacted a lot of people. Eckhart Tolle is very impacted by A Course in Miracles. All of his teachings, The Power of Now, New Earth, like those all have and are influenced by A Course in Miracles. Conversations with God, A Return to Love, all of Marianne Williamson's books and all her talks are greatly influenced by it, and she is one of the greatest teachers, I think, right now of A Course in Miracles. One of the biggest messengers of it. Wayne Dyer, yes. You know, if we look across towards that time, anybody that was talking about, you know, manifestation and spiritual things, like probably all have some sort of connection to A Course in Miracles. So the Course actually says that the world you see is an illusion. So everything that happens in your relationship, that's really an illusion of what you are creating, which is not created by God. What God creates is eternal. What you create is temporary. So we can also gauge things by that. Black and white. Is it eternal or is it temporary? And that's the way we can tell if things are truth, if it's a truth or not. So what this teaches us is that the physical world, including tribe Earth that we're talking about here, is ultimately not the reality. However, it brings us closer because the thinking starts to be love, acceptance, gratitude, unity. These energies bring us closer to that thinking. Okay, so yeah, Tribe Earth. As we're here right now, be the connector of people. I know a lot of you guys here have been, you know, really great connecting me with new people. You know, it's just great to connect people. It's a good feeling when two people come together and build something amazing and you were the one that connected them. I love it. Okay, that's happened so many times. So I'll take a short pause here. Does anybody want to share anything, ask anything? What's on your mind? You know, it's in everyone else's shares and your questions that the actual message that we want to call forth on this call actually shows up. Otherwise, I'm just talking to myself.
Can I say, can you hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
Hello? Immediately I thought, I think it's said somewhere, what separates us animals from human is having the reasoning. Is that what it's called? We
Something like
can
that.
reason, or what is, we can make decisions.
Yeah.
There's a thing that separates the human brain to the animal brain. I
Yes.
can't remember exactly what's that word.
It's a
You know what I'm talking
consciousness.
about? Yeah.
Yeah. Go for it. But
So
what about
I think that's what complicates us humans. Come on now. We become stupid
it?
instead of being smart and just go with the flow. But that little thing, that just that little twig that animals don't have and we have is a double-edged sword, like they say, you know. It
Mhm.
gets us in trouble and then it gives us extreme joy or whatever, extreme enlightenment.
Yeah.
So that's what came out of when you said, that animals have one. They're very they go every just like the penguins. It's unbelievable. The penguins, what they go through. It's just amazing. A few years ago they showed that movie, the Journey of the Penguins, and they spend months freezing their asses off just to protect the baby. That's
Hmm.
all they do. The butterflies, they go from one extreme to the other. They cross the full continent just to have babies.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
And
go
no
ahead.
complaints.
That's all.
Yeah. Thanks. And no complaints. And I love animals.
Well,
They
of
just do what
course.
they do.
Yeah. But we can't be always like them because we have a stupid thing in our brains. That makes it different. So, anyhow, that's
Hmm.
what silence is golden. The quietness, the meditation, being in peace, blah, blah, blah. It keeps everything in balance, all the nervous systems in place, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I haven't answered enough.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. It's so true. We really operate from overthinking, overanalyzing. Right. And it just and every time we do something and we overthink and we overanalyze it, it just goes deeper and deeper down a rabbit hole. And how many times have we gotten into some sort of debate or argument or something with someone only to recognize, wow, what a huge amount of energy was exerted here, and I didn't even get anywhere. Right? Like, we exert so much energy. Uh-huh.
You open that can of worms. That's the term. You just open something up that was in there and woo! Anyhow,
Yeah.
life is fun. I mean, think about it. It's a joke. Just. But I'm saying that I'm from, already on retirement age, okay? You guys mostly are still young and at the workforce, but But at this time in my life, I can see it like this, make jokes out of it and just have fun with it.
Yeah. And it's great because you have something to share. You're sharing from a, I guess, retired or later stage of life, so there's a message also. We have messages that we're just crafting and getting ready to share. And we in order to share, every time we share with others, our message becomes clearer to ourselves. And it's just how we live. How can we live with peace? How can we live with happiness? Right? Those are the only thing that matters is, can I live my life with peace of mind, with the decisions that have been made? Even the penguins lose their eggs and they grieve about it, but you know what? They find peace in moving forward. They go and have more eggs, and then they go and do the same thing. Right? They go and continue on with the same exact thing. They don't say, oh, uh I lost my eggs, now I'm never gonna go here or trust this pack. They don't blame anything. It's just like, oh well, it happened. Right? And can we move forward like that without creating stories and hindering our gifts and our abilities and covering up our messages? Right? Natalie, welcome. Welcome, sister. Um, yeah, so if anything else is on any of your minds or on your hearts this morning that you want to share, feel free to do so here. Even if you're live, if you want to type anything in the chat, feel free to do so. Should I surrender to the force that is pushing me in other directions of my goals? So 1 second, Claudia. Max asked if he should surrender to the force that is pushing me in other direction of my goals. So the question becomes, why is your goals against life? What goals are you setting? Like, it's kind of like if life is making me, showing me that real estate is where I'm going and this and that, and all the people around me, like, this is where I'm going. My goals are in real estate. But then I'm like, wait, but before I got into it, my goal was to be a doctor, right? And because as time goes, you should also be able to see, like, what is the life force moving you to, and it will show up in situations. The callings will be clear, but whether you have the ability to hear, that's another question, right? Like, can I um can I listen to what's being put in front of me? Nothing. That's why I'm always like, nothing happens by accident, right? Like, so for me right now, my whole thing was, okay, I'm going to be investing in Vegas. I'm going to be doing syndications. We bring a whole bunch of people here. But what's opening up for me right now is a whole bunch of institutional level players, family offices, and these types of things. And I'm like, wait, but my goals are over here. But what is life showing me? So it's always better to be in the question of it, like curiosity. What's life showing me right now? Right? And then I can be a yes to everything in terms of, let's take a meeting. But patience, like allowing the message to be so clear, because we've all had moments where we're like, yup, it's so clear. I got to leave here, or I got to quit my job, or I got to leave this relationship, or whatever it be. Usually the message is pretty clear, but we drag it on for a little bit longer. You can't dictate the force. The force is the curriculum is going to carry on. We are all in this one life curriculum. Now, the only thing that you have free will over is whether you're going to surrender to this curriculum or not, whether you're going to listen or not, or you want to fight and struggle for a while. If it causes fighting and struggling and all this stuff, it means that you're not in this flow. And this goes back to our beginning conversation. We start thinking about what's in it for me. The ego becomes louder. The second we start thinking what's in it for me, instead of how I can be a contribution to this person, to this space, to this world, there's only, if you are not thinking about how can I be a contribution, it is automatically what's in it for me. There is no in between. Okay, don't make the world more complicated than it is. So the takeaway would be, am I being a contribution to my family? Am I being a contribution to my community? Am I being a contribution to the city of wherever I'm living in, to the country, to the world, to all humanity, to animals? Right? Am I being a contribution? You will find that being in contribution actually brings greater fulfillment and happiness, and more doors just continue to open up for you. It's very it's a secret. It's a not so secret that every wealthy and successful person, Napoleon Hill and everybody has shared, is about the contributions. How can you be a contribution? And then the doors just open up.
I
So,
think
yeah.
that's a form of doing gratitude. Gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's what it's stuff like.
Yeah.
Being appreciative.
Yeah.
Being grateful.
Mm-hmm. Gratitude is going to
But if
come.
you don't have that in you, yeah. But
Gratitude is
God
going to
is
come.
in you.
Go. You go.
Okay. So I think, thank you for the conversation. This has been amazing. I've been in the practice of, it's almost like a daily reminder of like in the giving is receiving and being a contribution, and the results that I've been able to witness and see in my life, and the abundance has been wonderful. And one of the things that I am currently learning is, okay, being in this way, and so I'm still like in the process of like I catch myself when I'm, let's say, in a negotiation, or an investor shows up and is looking for an investment opportunity, and then seeing how I can contribute into, matching him to the right and stuff like that. And then sometimes it's like, oh, okay, if I bring these two people together, it's like, okay, and then I can notice myself like, oh, wait a minute. And then I go into this, what's in it for me? Am I, and so it's just really interesting. So although I'm in the practice of it, I still catch myself in that sometimes. And so what, how do you, what are, like, how do you feel about that? Because at the end of the day, like, it's still a business transaction, and those conversations get to be had and agreements get to be made before, looking at it from a business perspective. And I used to look at it before as to, always like, if I'm bringing something to the table, what's in it for me? And so I've been in the process of shifting that, and it's been incredible. And there's still business transactions, so
Yeah.
it's support here.
So it's very clear. I mean, well, it's not very clear, but most of the times when a transaction happens, let's say $100,000 transaction is going to happen between me and you. Okay, I'm going to make $100,000 because you made it happen. It's a very normal, it's a neutral conversation to be like, okay, so before this happens, what is our agreement? Right? Like, do you give a referral fee? Like, just ask the questions, be in curiosity. Be like, okay, yes. Okay, well, how much is it? It's usually better. I like to put it on the other person. I have a number in mind, but I want the relationship to be great. I don't want money to dictate how this relationship goes. So maybe you come to me and you're like, oh, hey, Alex, I'll put it, you decide how much do you want to cut me. But make this this agreement up front. Right? What happens is people think this is a conversation they don't want to have, so they avoid it, and then they wait till later, and then it's all a misunderstanding. And they're like, well, whose fault is it? Right? So up front, okay, I'm gonna do this for you, and how much is the compensation or the referral? Okay, great. It's about being clear up front, so it helps both parties. But most of us go to like, money. It's kind of a conversation I don't really want to talk about. We'll talk about later. So money is neutral. So it comes down to your own thinking around money. Like with my buddy, he's like, hey, I have multiple people that can sell my house. I'm like, okay, so who wants to sell my house? And there's a couple of our friends, and we're like, all right, well, so why would we want to sell our house with you? And a couple of them, one of them was like, okay, well, I can sell it in this time and I already have investors. Okay, cool. And then another one's, oh, I can sell it and I have these investors. I'm like, great, but I'll give you $2,500. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then my closest friend, I was like, hey, listen, you're my best friend. I want to give this deal to you, but also, Love's friend's willing to give us 2,500. Okay, you know what? I'll give you 4,000. I'm like, okay, cool. You get it. right? So it was talked about up front. Now, here's the funny part. The house went for $35,000 more than what we listed it for. And it's closing on Friday. And he's like, I offered you 4,000, but that was before we got it at this price and that. I'm like, wait, are you trying to renegotiate right now over this? You're gonna be making more too. And he's like, all right, true, okay. Right. So it's like these conversations you can have, but just have them like it's very neutral. But you have to neutralize it first, because whatever you bring to the table, like if you're like about it, that's what the energy of that conversation is going to be like. And most of the times when we start talking about money, people are like kind of shying away and dancing around the conversation. Like, just get there. Everybody wants to just get there. But if you're dancing around, they're going to dance around, and then nobody's clear about what's going on. And then you end the conversation not having concrete agreements. Now, this is just on the practical level of how you handle these things. On the other side, it's and also the more clear you are, the more they respect doing business with you, because people don't really care about how much they're getting or not. They care more about the clarity and the confidence in doing the business together, the respect that shows up when you're clear. And on the other side is to recognize that I'm not going to let money mess up this relationship. If the agreement wasn't set in stone and then now he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to give you 5%. So you help somebody make 100,000 and you get, and you help me make 100K. And I'm like, I think based on your work, I'm going to give you $2,000. I mean, even less than. You're like, what the hell's that? Or you start making up a whole bunch of stories. But now the relationship could be hurt because of the stories that you made up. Now, maybe I had something much bigger on the back end, but you never know. But if you're just like, oh, okay, I see. Next time I will, you just know that the lesson is agree up front, right? Have the conversation up front and know what you're worth. Because you could be like, hey, Alex, I'll bring you 100K, but I want 25%. See, up front, I might be like, ooh, yeah, okay. I'll take 75K. But if it's on the back end, the misunderstanding happens. Happens every day in business, happens every day in real estate, happens every single day, because people are unwilling to have the tough conversations. And we learn, we learn. Nope. Yeah.
I remembered our conversation back from like a year ago, and it's like put it on the other person, and I went ahead and did that. And but I guess what I'm struggling with, I was able to have the conversation and brought it to the table, ask the other party, and then but I didn't hear the response that I wanted. And so I guess what I'm taking from this is not allowing that to tint or make up any stories, and just and I can either do business with them or do business with somebody else too without making any stories up.
Yeah. Like, just know that this is a door that opened up. This business transaction is a door that opened up. How well you keep this relationship will create more things, right? Because maybe you don't get what you want right now, but maybe you don't even know what you want, because you think what you want is a bigger piece of the pie on this deal. But what you really want was the connections that they have that you don't even know they have. Right? So these are things that we don't know. And that's what the course says. You don't perceive your own best interest. And if you don't perceive your own best interest, whatever happens in that transaction, be like, okay, thank you, God. And you be in such a way that they're like, wow, everybody. Because if they created that relationship with you, that little interaction, and you're like, oh, I don't want to work with them again, that's probably happened multiple times in their life. And they don't even know why. And then you came and challenged it. You're like, yeah, sure. Sounds good. Love it. And then all of a sudden they're like, this is the best person we've ever worked with. And then you matched it with love, right? You matched it with love, understanding, compassion, empathy. You're not judging them for being cheap on you, because they expect it. They expect to be cheap, and then they expect a certain retaliation and whatever, because this is how they've done their relationships forever. And you interrupted it.
You nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then now they,
And it's the also like the demo, like in the demonstrating how I do relationships and how a contribution also, you know, like being the teaching, and that's wonderful. That really, really supports me.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I always,
Doing partnerships because it's opening up a door. How they're growing and doing partnerships, and so this is an opportunity for growth, and wonderful. Thank you so much, Alex.
yeah, you're welcome. Like, I don't care how successful anybody is or what they've done in this world. Everybody is still spiritually growing. And everyone is carrying with them baggage. I don't care who they are, be it Warren Buffett, Grant Cardone, Donald Trump. Everyone carries baggage. And they project. Everyone projects. Now, the only way you can show them is to be all loving. Right? Is to love only. One of the things I love what Marianne says is everyone believes in love, but not everyone believes in love only. There is love, but I believe in love, but I am grateful every day, except where we like, why the cop out? Why the back door to not being grateful? Why the back door to not being generous, kind, and all of that, and being loving? Oh, because they do this, right? Here we go, giving the power away. I can't be kind because they do this. What does they doing anything have to do with you just being kind and being loving? So, like, the most powerful transformation that anybody can ever have is to take complete ownership of their life and of everything that goes on around them. The transaction that you're having right now, that you have with this person, take full ownership, right? In whatever percentage they gave you. Whenever I go into a negotiation with someone, I'm like, "What's your happy number?" Because I just want to know where they are. It's not even about the deal right now. It's about what's your happy number. I want to know. I want to gauge you and what a happy number. How important is this for you, right? And then we can go, and then we take the conversation from there, right? So, you know, just like the mastery, the course that I put out. Somebody was like, "Oh, well, you know, I don't have the $500 to do it." I'm like, "Okay, well, what's your happy number?" And then I'm like, "Okay, well, you can attend one for free and see what it's like." And they're like, "Yeah." And they attended last night, and then they paid. They're like, "Hey, how do I pay for it?" So they paid after. See, like, I'm not attached to anything. I'm not like, "Nope, you got to pay before you come in." It's all, I'm like, "Whatever. I'm going to give all this stuff away anyways later." But I'm not going to, there won't be another time where I'm going to be running through this 12-week course like live like this. So, yeah. Good question. Who else? Let's see. What's in the chat here? The Emperor's Penguins. It's about creating win-win situations and relationships comes first. Yes. See, it's about creating win-wins, but is it about creating win-wins only? We say, yes, let's create win-wins, but that doesn't always happen. It's actually, I'm creating a win-win, but it's my win and my perception of your win. It's not both parties coming and saying we both win. It's, I'm going to tell you how I win, and I'm going to tell you how you win too. That's the win-win that we normally have. So good one, Barbara. No, I'm sick, Brooke, but I'm actually feeling better as this call goes on. I couldn't even talk in the beginning. Okay, Eric says, as a super connector myself, I highly appreciate this conversation. Yes, I highly appreciate you being here. Yeah, no worries. I will get well soon. Thank you. Okay, who else? Who else has got some thoughts? And I'm sick, and then I went to get stretched, and she stretched the heck out of my calf, and now I can't even walk because my left calf is so sore. And then as I was working out yesterday, because my calf is so sore, I compensated somewhere else, and I pulled the muscle in my neck. So I'm just in all sorts of pain. But I can lean into it, and I can have fun with it. Can't even move my neck past this. Oh, God. Ow. Okay. Who else has some thoughts? We still got some time. You know, I really, every single time I come down here, I flip this book. Maybe there's a crease in it that just opens up to this like page all the time. I see it all the time. It's been a couple weeks. Yoga, yes. You know, Brigitte, I've been thinking about doing yoga. I'm gonna do yoga. I've been thinking about it. Eventually I will do. Can't move my neck. All right. So this is day 310. I really, ow, my neck. Love this lesson or this reflection. I open to it all the time, but I'm like, man, we just read this like a couple of weeks ago, so I go somewhere else. But you know, some of you guys heard this, but it's been a couple months since we read it. So this is on moving mountains. This really impacts me, and I think about it, and it's great. On moving mountains. We've all got the right stuff because we are all hosts to God. His voice, and not the fear based egos, is the voice we can listen to and learn to follow. Each of us is meant to channel the spiritual forces of talent, creativity, and intelligence. This is nothing to take personal credit for, but nothing to apologize for either. As a child of God, you just happen to be the recipient of endless power and possibility. Whether or not you've always known this or practice it, there lies within you in this very moment the latent ability to create and achieve beyond your wildest dreams. And this never changes. No mortal condition diminishes the power of God. It doesn't matter what your resume is or how many degrees you have. It doesn't matter what mistakes you've made or how the economy is doing. It matters only where you place your consciousness now. Know who you are and who lives within you. And moving mountains will seem small compared to what you can do. I love it. So, what'd you guys hear? What'd you guys think? A yoga challenge. I like it. I'll bring it up to the Legends Health Council. See what they want to do. I think the next challenge that's coming is going to be like a walking or running challenge, which I really need to have happen.
You had a class with me one time, remember? When we were doing it, no?
Oh yeah, I think that was the last time I did yoga. What was that? 6 years ago? You traumatized me. we went and did hot yoga.
Hot yoga, yes.
Like my first time going to yoga, she brings me to hot yoga.
Yeah.
I can't stand heat. And now we're in Florida and we went into a room that's twice as hot as it is outside. And we're trying to stretch. Now, I did my best to enjoy it while I was there.
It worked.
Is there a yoga where you can just lay on the ground and do stuff? Like I don't have to stand. There is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vinyasa are like the slow vinyasa ones. Yes.
So things that
No
doesn't
stretching. Just
yeah.
stretching.
Okay, great. Wherever what is that yoga called? Come on.
Your wife just wrote it down. She wrote it.
Yin yoga.
Yeah, that's a stretching.
So
That's a stretching.
you've known this all this time? Huh?
You go with that. She's putting you.
I go with a pillow. This sounds good. I dig that.
And then you hold your position with a big pillow, and you can be there, but you have to stretch it out. Yes.
Gravity assisted yoga stretch yoga yin. Oh my god. So you guys have known this all this time, including you, Babesky, and you know I would totally do yoga if there was a gravity assisted stretch yoga. We pay a great deal of money every month to go get stretched for somebody else to stretch us. I lay on a table. They take straps and strap me down and then stretch me. I mean, it's great. I love it. But, you know, I've always wanted to do yoga. Huh?
You really can't compare. You can't compare stretch zone to anything else. Like you won't put yourself in any of those positions.
Yeah. Well, you know, a pillow.
Both are necessary, is what I'm saying.
A pillow and laying on the ground and doing yoga. I think those are all like things that I like that I can make that I see could be great. So are we gonna go find this class or what? Like the thing that I really love about I really want to go to a yoga class is like I just love community and meeting new people. This would just be another thing that I do. When I went to get stretched on Monday, so it was a new person that was stretching me. They're leveling me up because I'm kind of like, you know, the first person was weaker, didn't stretch as good, and this and that, and then they like level me up as I get a little bit better. But yesterday or Monday, I got the person that stretches love, and she looks at me and puts me on the table and goes, "Oh, I expected you to be a statue." I guess I look like a statue, and I look like I can't stretch or I'm not stretchy at all. But I've had some sessions of stretching, so now I can almost bring my leg up to like, you know, 45 or 90, is it 90 degrees? Like 75 degrees, stretch my hamstring. The first time they were stretching me over there, I was at like 25%. Like they couldn't, like they bring my leg straight and they pull it up and they can only be 25% the degree. And they're like, this is it. Like when she stretched me the first time, she started laughing as soon as she tried to stretch my hamstring. But I think I'm getting better, you know. There's a lot of being stretched, there's a lot of like surrendering and breathing. It's fun. And it's painful, but it's a nice pain. I like the pain. Try this one. Which one? Asana's Yoga. Why they got so many names? Can't they just give it like one? It's the easiest yoga and it's still hard for me to practice. So I don't want to do a yoga. I don't want to do yoga by watching a video at home. I want to go to a place and be with people and be inspired to do yoga. And for sure, I will bring some comic relief in that space. Okay. All right. You know, I'll watch this video and I'll do it. Babeski, can you take this? I'm gonna let's go. Let's do some yoga today together. Oh, it's 55 minutes long. What the? You sent me something that's 55 minutes long. I don't watch my own recordings that's 55 minutes long. I do listen to, the only thing I watch for 55 minutes or listen to 55 minutes is Jim Rohn. If you guys don't listen to Jim Rohn, you should listen to Jim Rohn. I probably spent thousands of hours listening to Jim Rohn. He has great influence on me. If you listen to his stuff, you'll probably hear a lot of what I say because, you know, he's amazing. Probably one of the most amazing human beings that I've encountered. And I've never encountered, but YouTube encountered. What else? What else? Love Jim Rohn. Yeah, Jim Rohn is awesome. What else? What else? Who else? We got a little bit more time. I actually feel like I'm getting unsick. Going once. Okay. Let's see. Getting 4,000 steps a day. It's a challenge for me for sure. I'm on my laptop all day. You know, you can get the standing desks and then put a little walking thing underneath. And I'm sure if you're on your laptop all day, you can get 4,000 steps. On a little treadmill thing. Okay, so I will read a little bit of something from this new book that I got. Oh, also, I get to officiate a wedding next weekend. Is it next weekend or the weekend after? It's next weekend, I think. This weekend, the weekend after. Wait, what? No, it's next weekend. I should probably prepare my speech. But you know, I'm gonna bring a Course of Miracles into that. And she was, you know, the bride was like, you know, my family's like hardcore Catholics, and then it's gonna be like all this like spiritual things and stuff, and they're all like, what are we doing? Is this a you know a wedding, like a Catholic wedding? And it's really not. Get ChatGPT to do. Oh, for sure, ChatGPT will help me, but ChatGPT can only help you to the extent in which you prompt it to do things. Right? So, yeah, definitely, ChatGPT will be helping me with this. No doubt. But yeah, I get to bring people together. I get to honor the land, the ancestors that were on the land, and then bring in some stuff about God and Holy Spirit, and all of that will be in there. And then bring some of the Hindu teachings of of Krishna and all of that in there as well. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. And I'm supposed to dress in all white, like I'm in. The guidance was like Black Panther. Like the movie, you know, they got like the robe thingies for their celebrations. Yeah, I spent like $3,000 or $4,000 on suits and nice dress shirts in May. I can't fit into any of them right now. It's terrible. So now I gotta buy new stuff. Hopefully we can get that done, right, Babeski, by the time that next week comes along and get it fitted. But yeah, it's gonna be fun for sure. It's a little challenge. I look forward to seeing some of the recordings and share it with everybody in the chat. So from now to then, a lot of what we're going to be teaching, I'm going to be incorporating into that that speech, I guess. So any advice would be great. If you guys find some videos or something and you see like, oh my God, this was the best ceremony ever, feel free to send them my way. I want to make it very special for them. let's see. On here. Growing out of your clothes. Yeah. Go ahead, Claudia.
Okay, now I'm gonna share what has been present for me for maybe the last week. And was a loss of a beautiful soul
Mm.
who I had a intimacy. I had a lot of intimacy with her daughter being in my house and proximity with my daughter and her daughter. And it's been sitting, like the sadness of the loss of her presence, physical presence, right? Even though I didn't speak to her for, I think my last text to her was in 2022, maybe mid 2022, as we tried to put a play day for the girls again, um, coming out of the pandemic and all that stuff.
Hmm.
But it's, it's been sadness in moments, up and down. Um, and that's what has been really present to me. Even though, like, I know the community again is moving a lot of resources for her minor daughter to have some cushion for continue with her life because she's 14 years old and she was very involved in the community as well, even though she never did anything of the Garden community. Her daughter was there because she was there and she was kind of like raised in that environment for a couple of years. So her daughter's heart, I haven't communicated with her or anything. It's really hard at this point. But that's what is present to me, present on the sadness. Like you said in the beginning, the predators and the predators that humans we can be to other humans, right? And it happens in the animal, but like another person share as well that we have, humans were the biggest predators of everything, and yes, surrendering to maybe was her soul contract, passing the way she passed, and now having her daughter, like being raised by her grandmother. That thank goodness she was close to her. And she had no father at this point either. The father passed a couple of years ago in an overdose. So it's just like, and then you see all these, and it's right there in your backyard, right? And I have a teenager now as well, and it's just is Alex is the course is very beautiful to make peace in the poetic way this way, but when it comes like with the reasoning, with the mind, with the feelings, with the emotions, even animals, like I say, they grieve when their egg crack and they don't have a baby. When everybody, all the emperor penguins are having babies, and they kind of like support the ones, and sometimes some of them have two, and then they help the other ones, and that's part of like what I've seen now, like happens with the communities. Like I know that I belong, like you say, it's a big tribe, and even that's an illusion because everything is temporary, and I get that, and I get it in the reasoning, I get it in the intelligence, but at the end of the day, like those temporary things are sadness, are pain, are painful, and they're present.
Hmm.
So to give it a space for being with it and going through the grieving process that I think is important. Even animals go through the grieving process. If you have a couple dogs and one of them died, they go in a quiet moment, they go in a sadness, they cry around the house when the other one is missing. So or when you're not present, they're missing you, so they don't eat or they don't, all these things. So definitely the emotional part that we live in this temporary illusion is there. It's a temporary reality, right? So I
Yeah.
just wanted to share that was present for me. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. But the beautiful thing about this, we want to look towards what the beauty of it is, what's being unfolded, right? So even though she passed and, a lot of people knew her daughter because she was so involved in the community. Now the community is pulling together. Everybody is donating money. We have financial advisors taking the money and going to be creating for college funds and setting her up. And it's cool to see a whole community come together like that. Everybody's being like reawakened. Sometimes it takes death and things like this to reawaken the spirit of love in a community. It just does. Sometimes that's what it does. Like when my father passed away, that's when our whole family came back together. And those moments were awesome. We cherish them, and it was great. But we're back to it again, right? Like we haven't spoken to each other, we haven't seen each other in 6 years, 7 years. And it's kind of the way that the world's just rolling. And it is sad. It was very, very shocking. Like that was a very shocking like death because she was so involved in the community too. So yeah, man, it sucks for her daughter, but who knows? That's her curriculum, right? These things might have to happen for her to be the one to awaken to the message that's in her that she's going to be delivering. And now she has a community to guide her. And we'll see what the future brings for all of us that's involved in it. Yeah. Okay. What else? What else is present for y'all? Anything cool going on? Any challenges?
Alex, something else too, that when another person in the community passed, and I think we spoke to about him, Lynn, and he found out that everybody had moved mountains and the whole communities that he was part of it, and although the whole planet Earth that he was involved with, it showed him the love that he always was seeking in his inner work, right? And finally, he's like, oh my God, he got it. He got that he was lovable finally,
Mm-hmm.
and he took off in peace, and this is I know for a fact because the people was showing him everything that was moving for him, and then he left in peace, but knowing that even these tragedy moments are there for a bigger picture, right? And I'm aware of the transform that they're doing for her daughter and everything, right? So I know there's a bigger ways to look at it.
Yeah.
So and it is, and I say the same thing that you said to someone else. I think it was Nelson or something. We were like having a conversation, and I say, "Well, this girl is going to have something now that probably her parents were never able to be given to her."
Mm-hmm.
And in the magnificent and the magnitude, magnificent, the magnitude that it is going to be proportional to her. So. There's a couple of blessing beings that are closer to her that are doing this, like we said, right? So yeah, that's the beautiful side of the tragedy, correct? So.
Mm-hmm. But think about what it took for the community to come together, for everyone to be like, okay, now we're willing to help, because really she was calling out for help for a long time. And it took her passing for everyone to be called to be like, oh shit, we actually got to do something now, right? Because now her daughter, she's innocent, has no parents, have no guardians now. So it is challenging, but to see like, okay, well, what's the bright side of this? And then also to be when we say Jay said the session before now also turned out to be a grief in an unplanned way. Is it ever unplanned? It's all we're all, this is destined to happen. It's just we chose not to look at it, and we chose to have all sorts of judgments before, right? And it's only until somebody passes, all of a sudden all the sins and everything's forgiven. Can we do that while people are still alive in the body? Right? If we have the capacity to forgive everything, why wait till somebody passes to do it? Right? Of all, like, we can do it. So why don't we do it? That's the question. So that's why I'm constantly sharing on these calls. Who are the people that challenge you? Who are the people that triggers you? What are the situations that you have a problem with? Because that is where your greatest lesson is going to lie. Your capacity to love and to find yourself is right there. That's your obstacle. And then from there, we can expand how we do one thing, can touch and shift everything else. It's like the breathable yoga ball. You pull on one side, as this side opens up more, all of it goes together. You push one side down, all of it shrinks in also, right? It's not so, yeah. I mean, they gave the ultimate sacrifice. Is it the ultimate sacrifice though? Brooke. Oh my god, because we don't have to deal with them anymore. You're hilarious, Brooke. I mean, maybe that is why we're like, oh my god, I'm finally, don't have to deal with this anymore. But there is something beyond that, right? The something beyond that is like, okay, well, the things that they did actually doesn't really impact me anymore, right? And we've forgiven. Ultimately, it comes down to forgiven, whatever way you want to put it. You've forgiven the way they were, the image you had of them, and then and then that thought is returned back to love. Okay, go ahead, Alma.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
It makes me think more of I'm struggling with my situation about grieving in my country. The whole country is under stress. The countries are controlled by these people, that we don't want to call them government, because that's not government. That's controlling. And people are getting killed left and right just because they want to have justice. They kill them. They're very savage. They don't care. And then the last incident, a grandmother passed away, and the grandkids lived outside the country, and they requested, we want to go to my grandmother's funeral. And they said, no, you're not allowed to come back to this country. And I said, what? These are the grandkids. What do they have to do with the political situation? These are the grandkids that want to go see the grandmother before she died. And then for the funeral, they try again and say, no, you're not allowed. So that's something hard to live with. That's really, really hard to live with. How can someone have so much power to say no? You cannot go see your loved ones.
Yeah. Those are things that we're just like, why does it happen? Right? Why does it need to happen? And but ultimately it's going to come down to you and your experience of the world. Because either you're going to go do something about it, and then you do, or you still got to find peace at where you are. You can become extremely grateful for everything you have now and all the people now, and teach about gratitude and teach about all that, because but not about people, not in a way that you say you should, but you can inspire gratitude by being grateful, right? That's the way to teach, is to inspire. That's really the only way that teaching is going to happen, to demonstrate and to inspire. The telling somebody creates the opposite effect. Like if I'm saying you should be grateful while somebody is not grateful, only brings attention to where they weren't grateful and makes that bigger. So you can lead with action or lead by example, or sometimes you can lead with inaction, right? Because it's like the world says you got to take action, but by leading, by taking inaction, sometimes that may be teaching too.
But okay, this reminds me, we're just in the surviving mode. Survive it. Live through it. Because no one's going to change that situation. These are, criminal minds taking over. These are evil people taking over.
Well,
that's the way to see it. These people are taking over with so much hate.
Yeah.
They have so much power over people. So, okay, what do? I go there and fight and get killed? Or just shut up about it and let it go?
Yeah, or you can talk about it. I mean, in a way that inspires people too. So it's not going to inspire when you're like, oh, well, they're evil people and this and that, because what does that mean? That means there's no hope. Right? Hope is that, they just lost their way because God resides in them like God resides in me. Now, if you don't see that God resides in them, then there is no hope. Right? It's just, we should just kill them. And then how far does that go? Because evil is relative. Evil comes to your judgment. Are lions evil? Are polar bears evil? Like, what's evil? Right? Like polar bears and lions, they just go kill cubs and stuff like that all day. Do people that eat meat, are they evil? Right? So like evil is relative now. So it's really to the hope and the what's going to come from inside you is that God resides in everything. Oh, she just bounced off. But if God resides in everything, that means there is hope. That means people can return to love. Oh, she's back. One sec. Okay, so Alma. Oh. Yeah, Alma, what I was saying is when you can see the light in people, and this is how we started the call today, was the meditation of opening the heart. What's in the heart? That is given to you and placed there by God and everyone. The people that are evil, that are hurting people, have so much barriers around the love that is in their heart, around the gift. Because are they capable of loving? Yes. Have they been in love? Yes. All the things. Were they children? Were they ever joyful? Yeah. Do they laugh? Are they human beings? Yes.
Yeah, I always talk to myself and say, hey, we were all babies at one point. We were loving people. We all had a mother that gave us love. So where are these people? What happened to that love?
Yeah. So evil is entrapped. This idea of evil is actually trapped inside time. Because can somebody be evil? Evil, we're only saying they're being evil in this time frame. But over a course of eternity, if time is stacked vertically, yeah, at some point there might be some evil thoughts, but then there's loving thoughts, and it isn't stacked like this. If it stacks horizontal, we're just like, they're evil, but they're evil in a certain time frame because they've lost their way or whatever. They've forgotten or they've closed themselves off so much, emotionally disconnected, that you can just, off people. And right, so they just need to be reminded, and only love can conquer. And that's a thought in your mind is, I send blessings, to these people that are in control. I pray that they get connected to the source or to God and be guided and led to the right place and to do the right things. Right? That helps your peace of mind, that you believe there's goodness in everything. But the second you're like, nope, they're evil, that cuts off the hope, that cuts off solutions. Right? So, okay. So we've come to the end of this call here today. Thank you guys for the awesome conversations and the opportunity to be here to talk about. Yeah.
Alex, I'm sorry, I wanted to say the ironic thing is there's a huge banner that says Nicaragua ama la paz.
Mm-hmm.
How dare they be so? How dare they publicize this? Ama la paz. That's the least. So you see how they function. You see how the whole thing. Anyhow, I can be really radical, but most of my life is more peaceful than being radical because it's a real situation. But I can see it from the loving kindness in my family talking. I'm so ignorant. I'm so naive. Stop thinking that way when I come from love.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, so thank you for listening.
Yeah, of course. And see, the conflict inside you about a certain scenario will cross-pollinate into your relationships in your life. And then all of a sudden you're like, why am I creating conflicts with my family? Right? So it's going to show up everywhere. So we're going to close today with day 164, Marianne Williamson's A Year of Miracles. So what it says in here, and I think it'd be great to apply to what you just shared, is I don't ask God to change my circumstances, but to change who I am within them. We're all assigned a piece of the garden. Oh, this is where it comes from. A corner of the universe that is ours to transform. My corner of the universe is my own life, my relationships, my home, my work, my circumstances, exactly as they are. I don't ask God to change my circumstances, but to change who I am within them. May I tend to every part of my garden with love, that it may grow to be the most beautiful manifestation of all that is good, holy, and true. Dear God, make me the person you would have me be, that I might do what you would have me do. Make my life the most beautiful thing by reminding me who I am. Amen. About the garden. We talked about the garden. And Marian talks about the garden. Okay. So I will see you guys on Sunday. Thank you guys so much for being here. And much blessings to you all and all your relations today. I hope.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, brother.